Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. Before we get started, I wanted to share a little addendum to the podcast that you will be viewing. My guest, Margaret Ling from NOD, so eloquently described her visual appearance. I unfortunately did not do that at that time, and I wanted to correct that. So in the interview, I am of shoulder length black hair. I have tan skin and I am wearing a red top with a jade piece. Thank you for your understanding and for giving me this time to correct that. I hope you enjoy our episode with NOD and their wonderful career fair. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of EmpowerDis. I am your host, Ellen, and I showcase companies, individuals in the disability space that are doing the work. And I'm so happy to have you here, Margaret. I'm so excited.
So am I.
Thank you so much for being here. I thought we'd start off by you sharing a little bit about yourself, about your background, and then I'd love to dive into the National Organization of Disabilities and what you do.
All right. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
hi, everyone. My name is Margaret Ling. I have dark brown eyes and I have long brownish black hair. It's past my shoulders. I have on a soft pastel pink turtleneck. And I am currently the Senior Partnership Manager at the National Organization on Disability. So, my work really focuses on working with employers to really think strategically about how they support their employees with disabilities. This includes topics like demystifying, destigmatizing, and really breaking down barriers around what is disability. Because depending on which generation you grew up in, the way we approach disability, the way we learn about disability is very different. Of course, the older generation were very hush hush about talking about disability. We don't want to acknowledge it. It exists, but it's just not something that we bring forward. Whereas if you're a younger generation, I would say even millennials onward, they're very open. It is something that they're very willing to discuss, and they don't feel ashamed or abashed by it unless there's other people who are older than them from their family that kind of instill that type of behavior onto them. So we really want to change the way we approach this discussion. It's with that, it turns into a very healthy conversation for everybody. So, a little bit about how I came to be here at National Organization on Disability. I had a lot of difficulty as a child going to school. I was that one kid in the classroom that was still doing the assignment when all the kids were done doing whatever paperwork they had, that they were actually playing. And for me, that was really difficult. It made it more difficult for me to finish whatever that assignment was. And it was not until later in life that I became diagnosed with a learning disability. I'm thinking this is back in late 20, late 2000s. So it was called a learning disability. Now the definition has evolved a little bit more. They're calling it autism spectrum disorder. And in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. I'm very sensitive to everything around me. Light, sound, scent. I have trouble focusing if a fly just passes by. There's a lot of different things that really affect my behavior and how I interact with not just the person next to me, but everything around me. I'm super sensitive to everything. So it is with that that I feel like I have a mission. It was very difficult for me growing up to figure out how do I assimilate and adapt to my environment. And it's with that that I want to make sure that we shouldn't be fitting in if we're part of this world.
Yeah.
The world should be adapting to every single one of us because we are a spectrum. Think about it, like DNA. We come in different hair colors, different skin tones, and the way we think is no exception, and the way we function should be no exception. So it's kind of reshaping the world around who we are to make it more functional and more symbiotic for all of us. So it's with that approach that I love my job and I
Mhm.
really care about what I do at NOD.
Mhm. I love that. So I would love to touch on what sort of companies do you work with, and what has been the most impactful thing that you've seen with your collaboration?
So, a little bit more background about National Organization on Disability. We have
Mhm.
something called a Leadership Council membership where companies can join us for a fee. And with that fee, they have access to 3 different disability inclusion specialists, myself being one of them. And I would say all of these companies are very prescient, they're forward thinkers, and they really value disability inclusion. I work with companies like Toyota, Constellation, Marriott, and they're really setting forth by example how to change the way they work internally. So they are inclusive of everybody.
Mhm.
And right now it's a little bit difficult because there are certain regulations that we all have to adhere to.
Yes.
But I have to applaud all the companies that are holding steadfast to their D&I initiatives because that has been a struggle for us.
How have you worked with companies to still put diversity at the forefront, but do it in a way that acknowledges the changing landscape?
Well, even with the change, it's really being inclusive of everybody. So that landscape has not changed a lot. It's just a matter of language. And for us, we just want to make sure every event we do, it's open to all within an organization within a company. So we welcome everybody who wants to learn about disability because you might have a member or a friend with a disability, but there's still always a little bit more you might not know of because you don't have that true first person narrative or experience. So I use a lot of personal storytelling as an example, as do other speakers on the panel or other members from their company who are speaking. And it gives a name of something, a humanistic behavior. To understand, Margaret is on the autism spectrum. There are moments where she just hides. I do not want to be found. I need to be in my corner working in the dark. And for other people, especially for people my age and older generation, they call that a quirkiness. And
Mhm.
it's not really a quirkiness. It's just I know my behavior. I know how I work best. And at that moment, I need to retreat so I can still be the best me and not affect everybody else. I don't want to have a meltdown. I
Mhm.
don't want to come off as difficult.
Mhm.
And I really want to value these relationships that I have been building with my colleagues and anybody else I work with. I need to take that moment and I just have to let them know this is what I need. Understand it. You might not understand what I'm going through, but it is just how I work best.
So how do you explain that need to someone that you've met for the first time?
I don't always necessarily feel like I have to explain.
Mhm.
It's really a need to basis because most people, when they meet each other, do not reveal all their secrets. They're not
Right.
opening up those closets or the chest to let them peek inside. So
Right.
it's if I have a certain behavior and I see that they're reacting to it, I will more than likely give an explanation.
I see. So let me dig a little further
Mhm.
into, because what I'm hearing from possible job seekers is probably that's exactly like me. Like, I need that time to go in a dark space. But at the same time, the job market demands that I be on camera for interviews and for company functions. But I need my dark space.
Well, I always feel that the fact that the person shows up, whether they're on camera or not, and if they're in person, whether they're super interactive and engaged or not, is them showing up. And I have
Mhm.
to give them credit for that
Mhm.
because they can just tap out and say, I'm out. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. I don't want to participate at all. So for a person like myself, I made it very clear that I need accommodations. I've heard from some students where their families say, you cannot bring an accommodation. It will stick on your HR record and follow you throughout life. Where I'm thinking, how is that possible? It's not like a transcript where it follows you from one job, one company to the next to the next. And I always gauge what is the comfort level of the person that I'll be
Mm,
interacting with. There's
mhm,
always going to be cues from them. So if you can pay attention, follow that lead, and really, if it's to a point where I feel like I do have to disclose and explain my situation, I do it in a very matter of fact, calm manner. Because
mm,
I feel like you understand you. I understand me more than the other person. And if I own my disability and my needs, it's empowering for me. I've done my part. I can only control what I do. I cannot control what the other people do.
amazing. I love that. I know that you are currently putting together a virtual career fair. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about that.
Thank you. It was something that I really wanted to do because I know it's a very tough environment to get hired. If you look at students with disabilities, we are all going to the same campuses, attending the same classes, getting the same degrees, being marked by the same professors. But when it comes time for us to look for job opportunities, because of a disability, they might not necessarily have all the same resources. So I wanted to open that door up for them and kind of break that ceiling that exists, that invisible ceiling, so
Hmm.
they can freely meet employers nationally, whether they have regional reach, national reach, or global reach. They have access to them. I want them to practice their skills, learn to network, and not just that, sell themselves. You have that talent. You have the same skills. You came from the same education background. And these companies are looking for people who have the same skills as their non disabled peers. So, this is a platform for them to use to really take the time to learn about the different employers. Go to their website, do a little research, go outside of their website, Google, learn what are they doing? What is their future going to be like? How do you see yourself fitting in within those companies? And really create a picture of what you want and who fits best into that picture that you've created or want to create. And then as you're talking to the recruiters, you have a sense of what the company culture is. And that's another way to figure out if you'll fit in. Do they have hybrid work schedule? Is it all in person or is it remote? Everybody has a very different way that they work best. So figuring that
Hmm.
out, knowing that for yourself really helps guide you as to who are potential employers that I should keep in my sight lines and really practice your pitch. You know who you are, you know what your skills are, you have a vision for yourself when you're going to school or you're out of school and you started doing work and you think it might be time for me to explore other options.
Hmm.
So create that storyboard for yourself and share it with everybody because I can say all of the employers who are there are looking to hire and looking to hire individuals with disabilities.
Very nice. So if I were to recap for the audience, so definitely when coming prepared to this wonderful event, highly suggest everyone to do their research ahead of time in terms of the companies, in terms of what they do, but also most important, how the companies align with you and what you are looking for. So even if we were to even go back a step further, look at yourself, look at your strengths, look at what you have to offer. Once you know yourself, what your positiveness are and what your deal breakers are, then what you can do is look at the wonderful participants that and see where there's alignment. See where there's alignment and see what companies you want to get to know more. Not just because they're there, but because there's alignment between you and that company. Is that a good summarization?
Is beautifully and so elegantly put, Ellen. Thank you for that. And I have this little strange thought in my head. It's sort of like a dating game. It's
Okay.
like, okay, they're trying to feel you out. I'm also feeling them out to see if this is a good match.
I like that analogy. At the end of the day, we're just forming relationships, in this case, professional relationships.
Mm.
And so this is a professional relationship, professional experience that's going to add to both the company and you and see if it's the right fit for sure. Can you tell me some of the participants that possible, you know, candidates can start researching?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a number of our leadership council members
Mm.
participating that will include the Hershey Company. So their household recognizable name. Who didn't grow up eating Hershey Kisses? I think that's a pretty sweet job.
That's a very sweet job.
We have them. We have Marriott International.
Huh,
They might
very
be a
nice.
hospitality company, but they have all jobs under the sun for
Fantastic.
a company. We also have our friends, Sony Corporation,
Mhm.
as well as companies like KeyBank for those who are interested in going into finance or banking industry. And there's so many more.
Fantastic. What are some of the, disability-friendly features that you have for
Oh,
your virtual career fair?
it's very important that everybody has full access to this event. So for us, we're using a platform through Jobs Connected on Zoom.
Mm,
And Zoom of all of these different meeting platforms has the most accessible features. So you can turn on live captioning, which I use frequently for all of my meetings. It's a great way to follow along with the discussion or the dialogue in case there is any sensory overload happening around me. We also have access to sign language interpreters for
mm,
those who are hard of hearing. So we have a relationship with Convo Relay. So for this event, if you get in touch with them, they will assign an interpreter to follow you from room to room as you're meeting with these employers.
mhm.
And also, if you don't feel comfortable being on camera for your profile, just add a picture on. And we understand there are days where you just don't want to be seen, and the employers understand that. And on top of that, we also offer the ability to also meet with employers one-on-one if they turn that option on, because if you're entering a room, there might be too many voices. It's overwhelming. Even if it's a virtual space, for me, a virtual space feels just like being in live space. If there's too many people in a room, I have an inability to focus on the conversation. So that is another feature that is there for people who are neurodivergent.
That's wonderful. And when is this lovely event taking place?
We will be going live on March 24th. I'm sorry, March 24th from 10:30 to 1:30 in the afternoons Eastern time. So I just want everybody to be aware it's open to everybody across the country. It's free event for everybody to attend. And just make sure you check with the time zone and adjust the time period that you will be logging on.
Yes, and it's for everyone in the United States?
Everyone in the US, you're either enrolled in school
Mhm.
or you have graduated with your bachelor's, master's, PhD. It is open for everybody to meet with these employers.
Sounds fantastic. If, a person has graduated from an alternative education, is this also open to them, or is it university focused?
I would say join the event. You still have skills that are valuable to these employers. It's just a matter of finding the right match for you.
Fantastic. And do you have any thoughts to someone who this is their first time even thinking about joining an event like this,
Mhm.
or they're looking at their resume and they're thinking, do I have what it takes?
The fact that you're showing up and putting the effort is a big win. And I want to stress that unless you attend one, you will never know what it's like. And it's really the exposure where you gain that experience. Okay, you might not have done that well the first time around, but at least you went through one and you'll know how to kind of course correct when you go to future virtual career fairs or a live career fair. So it's a place for you to really practice your skills and have your resume out there. Ask for feedback. If it doesn't come across polished enough, work on it. Ask for tips. How do I improve my resume? Am I telling the story that you need to hear to make me look like somebody you want to hire? So
Mhm.
there's a lot that I want people to, it's a trial and error,
Right.
and take this opportunity to really learn about yourself more so than you're learning about the employers. It's very revealing when you go through one of these events. And I'll have a booth there. So look for the National Organization on Disability booth. I'll be there half an hour before we go live. If you have any questions, I'm there to answer them. If you have any nervous jitters, I'm there to talk you through it because I really believe in everybody. You got through school. The fact that you are in college or you have a certification means that you have ability to really survive
Mhm.
through whatever life can throw at you. And it takes a lot of stamina to get through it. I didn't graduate from college until I was in my early 50s, but I wanted to do it. So there's always plenty of time to get through what you want to do. It's just a matter of taking that first step and starting.
Right, and you gotta
Mhm.
start somewhere.
And
You
I'll
gotta
be
s
there with you.
Yeah, I love that. What if someone is saying, "Well, these companies are all great, but I probably won't fit what," like, for example, like somebody that comes from, the technology boot camp space of, "Well, I only have a few months," or, "I don't have a pure alignment with hospitality or Toyota or with the bigger companies. I don't have full alignment." What would you say to them, even if their skill set is maybe different?
Different does not necessarily mean you don't qualify. I want I want people to understand that. You can't compare yourself to the ideal candidate because sometimes the ideal candidate really does not exist. That's why I'm seeing a lot of these companies have vacancies because they have these job descriptions that are so stacked that it's really hard for somebody who's starting their career to really meet those expectations. So I would say go in there and just see what happens. You might be surprised. You might make a new friend because you never know. They might not be the fit for you now, but you don't know 2 weeks, 2 years down the line where they're going to be. And you have a contact elsewhere that might be helpful for you.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself. I wanted to give pause to that first thing that you said because it was so impactful. It is true that you're not just meeting people for that first thing. You know, I think in this society we forget how important connections are and
Well,
relationships are because these are people that's going to follow you throughout life. And thank you for what you do in terms of bringing that discussion to companies. Can you share with me a success story between a company and a candidate?
I love this one story. It's my very first virtual career fair from last year, April 2025. And I had this one candidate that I worked with during our Campus to Careers program. He was finishing up his schooling, looking for work, had trouble. He graduated pretty top of his class. So he went back to school, got his master's in a different major, and it is in coding. And he was still having problem finding a job. And he actually spent a year driving Uber. So I got in touch with him. I asked him, "Are you still looking for work?" And he said, "Yes, I am, Margaret." And I say, "Please sign up for this event. There are so many different companies. I think you might find a good lead. If not, you're going to make good connections. And it turned out that he got an offer from joining our virtual career fair. And since then, he's been soaring. I am so proud of him.
What would you say the benefit is from a company's perspective since partnering with you, since inviting candidates with various disabilities and abilities to their staff? What has been the biggest aha for those companies?
Heard a lot of feedback from companies. They were really surprised at the caliber of candidates that show up to our virtual career fair.
Hmm.
They're poised, they come prepared, they're asking the right questions, they have the etiquette in terms of entering an interview and afterwards doing the follow up. And they found that very impressive. Knowing that this is the amount of effort that they put in, and
Hmm.
it's just a virtual career fair.
Hmm.
Imagine the effort that they're going to put if you bring them into your company. That's why we have people coming back. Now, this will be our third event. A lot of them are returning for the third time.
What inspired you to put this together?
Really knowing that there are so many students with disabilities and just needing that one door to open for them can really change the whole trajectory of their life. And I want them to be seen and be heard. And when I give them that opportunity to be seen and heard, our participating employers are giving me positive feedback. And
Yeah.
it's with that we see the need to continue for another year.
What is the best way for contacts to get in touch with this wonderful event?
Well, first sign up for the virtual career fair. This way I have collected their information. So
Fantastic.
I get emails from candidates saying, I've never been to a virtual career fair. I don't know what to expect. What should I do to get ready?
Mhm.
And prior to us going live, the week before, towards the end, I will be doing an information session with the platform provider to teach people how do you log on? How do you go from booth to booth? Really to walk you through the whole process. So when we're going live, if you have out of the 20 plus employers, you have 10 you want to see, we want to make sure you are comfortable navigating this platform so you don't miss any opportunities and really get to have
Fantastic.
those conversations you're looking to have.
Fantastic.
I will be there. If feel free to drop in. I had people nonstop coming into the booth. There were a lot of nervous jitters, a lot of
Mhm.
question marks as to what should I do. So I was able to help everybody who's there, and sometimes my colleagues join me. So you'll meet the rest of the NOD team.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Looking forward to this. This sounds so exciting. And Margaret, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you
I
for
truly
inviting me.
appreciate this. Yeah. And we will have more information. And Margaret, thank you for what you do.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish you much success. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank
Thank
you, and I
you.
welcome you to the virtual career fair. Come see me on the 20th
Yes. Come on the 24th, and it starts at
from
the
10:30 in the morning Eastern time. So it's a 3-hour event.
very good. And then the workshop in case people need
I will
help preparing.
I will be sending them emails. I will also have
Okay.
additional resources to help
Fantastic.
them hone their career readiness skills.
And Margaret, thank you again. And we will be in touch for
Thank you,
sure.
Ellen.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.